I just want to tell it through my eyes this time. No more books or articles that cut every other word just to make a buck. But I really can't encompass my story without everyone that's walked into it. I guess I just feel like every person I've encountered, every boulder I've hit has made me who I am today. But it wasn't always like that. My family started it all, Mom, Dad, 2 sisters, my brother. My sister Lucy and I started singing together and we became a duet known as the Simon Sisters. We were 16 and 17. We would hitchhike up to Provincetown and play at a local bar called the Moors. Folk music. We got our first record deal with Cap Records and opened for Woody Allen, Dick Cavett, Bill Cosby, and other soon-to-be famous people. I idolized my sister. You see, being the third of 4 children, I was considering myself to be a loser. Most people call it the black sheep. Having 2 older sisters gave me a little sense of self when I was growing up, so I had a tendency to clown around a lot. But you guys have your own personalities. Joanna, you're sophisticated and distinguished. And Lucy, you're the shy one who gets everybody's attention because you're cute and sweet. I want to find out who I am. You don't know what it's like being the youngest daughter. So what if I make a lot of funny faces? I can't help it if I'm funny. I do not like attention. When I was 4, a nurse came to my house helping my baby brother Peter, who had just been born. My oldest sister Joanna greeted the nurse in a queenly compliment. Then Lucy, she said, "Hello," in that angelic tone of hers. So when it came to my turn, I felt like there was nothing left. So, jumped on the coffee table and did my best impersonation of the world's greatest entertainer, Al Jolson. Baby, you ain't got nothing yet. My sisters and I would perform plays and musicals together. My brother never really had any interest in music. He'd always be off somewhere taking pictures around the island. My dad, Richard Simon, you know, Simon & Schuster, he'd bring his friends home to watch our performances. I didn't really know who they were, I just remember that the audience was filled with heavy people. Thanks, Mr. Rogers, Mr. Hammerstein. See you next week. Oh. I guess I was good at having different personalities. People always tell me that I bring out my true feelings about life when I write music. But that's what music should be about. I mean, I guess I had the ability to put on many masks because of all my insecurities, but the meaning of my music helped me to realize who I was. When my sister decided to get married to a psychiatrist and have a child, I felt empty, out of reach. I stopped singing and performing for a while because I ran into some problems with this rock manager I had, and once again, I felt like the loser in the family. Joanna was a well-established opera singer. Lucy had her husband, and Peter seemed successful in his freelance photography work. After that, I fell into silence for a few years. No amount of silence could compare to the silence that I felt when I lost him. July 29, 1960, I was 17. He had suffered a heart attack a few years back, and every day since then I feared losing him. I used to knock on wood. 500 times a day, and pray every night that my father wouldn't die. It's sort of my way of working magic. I feared his death so much that every time he got sick, I would move away from him. I felt that if I got near him, somehow I might die too. You are the most inspirational figure in my life. You always wanted me to pursue something creative, and I did. I promised to carry on your goal, Daddy. See that every American can pick up a book and read it. After you died, I suppressed all those feelings, but they never left me. 11 years later, I sat down with a journal and decided just to write. Stream of consciousness, I wrote down whatever came into my head. First line I wrote in that book, you remember, it was God whispering lullabies to me. Didn't really know what it meant, but then it ran into a second line. And Daddy next door whistled whiskey tunes. Then a third. At the end of 2 verses, I knew something weird was happening. I called it Embrace Me, Child. Losing my father also meant losing my faith in you, God, whom I had prayed to every night. You both abandoned me! And I guess you just really never get over it. The song wasn't planned, it was an accident. It was as if you took a pencil and wrote it for me. But it reveals a part of who I am. I like to think that my music is more than just the kind of rock, but the kind of rock that gets inside of me. It pushes each listener to reach out. I take all of my music out of my own experiences and breathe real life into them. Why do I try to forget the things that I fear the most? Why can't I face them like any other human being? Do we really have to talk about James? Because he's really the part of my life that I try to forget. How do you forget somebody who's been through everything with me? Highs and lows, to say the least. James Taylor. James and I were always running into each other at folk concerts. We got engaged one afternoon after I jokingly suggested that it was time to get married. He had a hesitant look on his face and said, "Oh, well, there's really no reason to get married. I mean, oh, we love each other, and, we've been living together." Then later on that afternoon, James looked at me and said, "You know, I've been thinking about it. Maybe we should get married." I said, "Well, what's happened between this morning and this afternoon?" "Well, this afternoon was my afternoon." We got married in '72. Well, of course, I mean, before I settled down with James, I had a strong reaction to failed romances. I tried to disguise it, but I was taking serious hits to the heart. With my luck, I had to fall in love with one of the biggest womanizers in the music business. Well, I had a bit of trouble keeping his dick in his pants. I mean, Matt Stevens. He cheated on me so many times before he dumped me that I became numb. And all my insecurities came running back as if they never left. But for some reason, that pain and insecurity made me write more music than I had ever written. I wasn't the sweet, innocent girl that my managers tried to make me out to be anymore. I became ambitious and would do almost anything to help move along my career. Before James, I was linked to almost every major male recording star. I just like to get the men who are almost impossible for other women to get, you know? I like the fact that the press and public took an interest in my love life. It made me feel like even more of a celebrity. I don't know, I mean, the year before James and I got married, they almost lost me again after introducing me to Mick Jagger. Of course I wasn't the first. Jagger had slept with some of the world's top beauties. wife Bianca really resented me. I mean more than any other woman Jagger had slept with. You know what? Let's do it. Can I get some lights, please? James and I had just been married right before your survey hit the airwaves. I never knew this song would create such intense curiosity amongst my fans. Everyone wanted to know which one of my previous lovers the song was about. I would say I had 3 or 4 different people in mind when I wrote it. One of them is Melvin Pushpitz. And the other is Life Less Long Time. That's the verse about Saratoga. I did think of select people when I wrote it, but the examples of what they did was a fantasy thing. But seriously, people were dying to know. Was it Mick Jagger, Cat Stevens, Warren Beatty, Chris Christopherson? It's been 30 years and interviewers are still asking me the same question. I've never revealed who I had in mind, and I'm not about to start now. But it always strikes me as funny that people would be that interested in what I was thinking. It's the greatest ego trip anybody could ever have. For that reason, of course, I can never give it away. Some people think it's about James. A lot of people think it's about Jagger. It certainly sounds like it would be about Warren Beatty. He called me and said, "Thanks for the song." So well, hasn't everybody? Because if you haven't, that only means you haven't been. Although when I met him, he was still relatively undiscovered as a John Juan. I felt I was among thousands at that point. We hadn't reached, you know, small populations of small countries. He was great fun and very, very bright, but no as a boyfriend. I guess I could tell you, since you're so very handsome. It's about the young Oprah Winfrey. Shh. I could never solve that mystery for everyone, because if I did, then no one would have anything to talk to me about. Who cares? I can't believe people care, you know? It was a riddle a long time ago, and it's best, as all riddles are, best unsolved. All right, James. Anyway, I was the one putting all the effort into the relationship. But no matter how much I tried to make it work, there was always a wall. His addiction to drugs always got in the way. I guess I just didn't know how bad it really was, but it took a toll on our marriage. I would get him clean, and then he would go right back to it. I've never been addicted to anything before, so I really didn't understand. There were times, that he would stop talking to me, and it was extremely frustrating because all I wanted to do was help. I tried everything I could think of. Some nights I'd get him to bed early, wait until he fell asleep. And I gently tied one end of my silk bathrobe sash to one of his ankles, and the other end to my own. He couldn't get out of bed without waking me. He eventually caught on to my trick and would return home hours later, still drugged up. I was determined to start a family, and I usually got my way. James was reluctant at first because of our busy schedules, but I gave birth to a gorgeous baby girl, Sarah Maria Taylor. James did calm down for me. He was a good father, but he still went back to his bad habits. I know he didn't like being away from us, but he was constantly gone. His addiction to drugs always got in the way. I was fed up. I knew that if we didn't have a daughter together, I would have left him a long time ago. He was partying hard on tour while I was at home by myself. I thought that since we started a family together, we'd finally settle down. It's destroying you, it's destroying us. Every day you're fading more and more. I think it's time you take a break from the road. Jesus, if you can't do it for your own sake, then do it for Sarah. There's nothing worse than having a father around who's a junkie. What will you tell your daughter, huh? Huh? When she's old enough to understand that her father was always high when he held her in his arms when she was little? Fine. You know what? You don't have to quit your bad habits because I already went back to mine. That's right. Because if you won't be there, somebody else will. Oh, please. Be sensitive, loving, and very immediately there. We were dancing. Yes, at Studio 54. That's right. I danced with the world's most famous disco dancer. Oh, now you're furious. Did you really think that I was just going to wait for you to come home forever, James? I tried to warn you. This is all your fault. You're probably right. Things will never be the same again. But I don't care. Because you're never around when I need you the most anyway. What good are you if you're not here? You don't mean that. Our last year we spent living in their house. It was almost worse than fighting. It was complete silence. We got divorced and it wasn't pretty, but it was what we needed. I think it could be easier for James if he could just be married to somebody who wasn't into having a career, who would just sit at home all year and eat wonderful pies. Although I bake a pretty damn good apple pie. You either have to disappoint your record company, or your manager, or your children, or your husband. There's always guilt. Eventually, the guilt dissipated and I concentrated on raising my kids. James and I became civil with each other. My life was tested once again, just when I thought I had gotten over the biggest hopes. I was diagnosed with breast cancer and had a mastectomy and reconstructive surgery. I believe that you have to have a positive attitude in order to fight cancer. It's crucial to have faith in your doctor, and I did. He says that there are two types of patients. One kind says that they're scared and they're going to die. And the other says, cure me. Those who ask for a cure are the ones who get it. I was strongest between the time that I was diagnosed and when I had my mastectomy. I felt as if I was mobilizing little armies inside me. I would say to myself, hell, woman, you're going to be fine. You've done much harder things. Purple surprises running on an earth begin to excite you before it settles down. It's after the knives and the sutures and needles, I'm left with an arrow that points at my heart. I call it the seed of my sentimental sorrow. Gone seems to be one of the sum of my parts. And the night is cold as the coldest night. There's a wise woman, she comes from an evening star. She says, look for the signs, you won't have to look far. Lead with your spirit and follow your star. La, 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 surprisingly enough, James was the first one rushed to my bedside when I got sick. There aren't many men that would do that for their ex-wives. I got through this because I realized, damn it, I have too much to live for. And because, well, if I got better, James promised to take full blame for our marriage and make it up to me. I finally realized that.
Oh, sorry, Carly. Time's up. We're going to have to continue next week. Just talk to my secretary, Leslie. She'll make an appointment for you. And good luck with all that.
Wow.
Why does everybody always fucking walk out on me? Baby sneezes, mommy pleases, daddy breezes you. I know nothing stays the same, but if you're willing class, man, I would have never walked. Leslie Ann and Wayne Phillip, thank you guys for having so much faith in me and realize that someday I might grow up just a little bit. I did it a little bit. I'm not going to say too much, but I grew up a little bit. But Mommy, I love you. Thank you for supporting me no matter what. Babe.
You're beautiful, Carly.
I'm talking to you. It's like a real life right there. I was like, fuck, wait, am I saying my code? I pronounce your facial expression, so I think it's a good one.